So today we just did the introduction. So I have the video is available and which I can share with you later. And today we'll be looking at Power Dynamics 365 and PowerApps and how you can be able to, it's going to be a live demo and what you can do with PowerApps and Dynamics, what applications you can do, you can be to build. And then I have our speaker here, Byron, Ditman. Sorry if I didn't pronounce it well. This banner. Okay. Okay.
You almost got it.
Sorry. So okay, is Dynamics 365 solution expert, and then he has years of experience, and then he has been specializing in driving strategy partnership and deploying CRM solutions across multiple industries. Trust me, today you're going to learn a lot from him, and he's going to share with us his wealth of knowledge. He's an MCT, and also I learned a lot from him. He's my teacher, he's my mentor. So, okay, so today he'll be showing us, I'll be talking about what's about all around Dynamics 365 PowerApps, and then show us some kind of magic. See, when it's come to Dynamics 365, he's a magician. So, okay. So today, Byron.
The expectation too high, eh? Cool.
It's good to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And it's always nice to join your guys' meetings. I find that the Nigerian guys are so enthusiastic and can't wait to learn. It's really, really nice. I've been in these sessions in South Africa and Australia, and definitely the one I look forward to the most is the Nigeria user groups. It's really cool, and the activity on Facebook is just incredible. All right, so a little bit about me. I'm just going to share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay, you guys can see my screen? Ahmed, you can come.
Yeah, still coming up.
Screen?
Still coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see your screen now, but I can see your desktop.
My desktop?
Yeah, I think still coming up. Yes, I can see you now. I can see you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, great. That's fantastic. All right, so my name is Byron Ditburner. I'm actually South African. I've just relocated to Australia. I'm a solution specialist for Empired. And yeah, I'm in Perth, Australia. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is these three components and how we can get them to actually work together. So the type of demonstration I'm doing is I'm doing a demonstration that is targeted not necessarily at someone who is an expert, but someone who just wants to understand the basics. I remember when I first started learning about Dynamics and PowerApps and Flow, I go online and I read articles, and all the articles are so complicated, and I just want to know how to put a button on a form, or I want to know how to navigate from one page to the next. And I found it very difficult to find simple, basic explanations to things. All right. So, for example, why would I want to build a Power App? What is it for? Why would I want to build a Canvas app or a model-driven app? And why would I want to use Power Automate when I understand workflows? I don't want Automate. It's all these different types of things that go through your mind. And when I started to learn and get to understand it, it's actually truly incredible what the things that you can do if you use these three tools together with each other, especially when it comes to extending the power of Dynamics down to users to create applications that are for a user specific. A very simple example is, let's say, for example, I've got a bunch of users or employees at my company, and I want these employees to fill out their timesheets on a daily basis. Instead of them having to log into Dynamics, I could actually just create a small application inside my common data service or inside Dynamics as one single entity, call it timesheets, and expose that entity onto an app. And within, I would say, 15 minutes to half an hour, you've got an application that's done, deployed, ready for mobile, and all your staff can have access to that application. So what it means is we have the ability now to connect Dynamics to Power Apps and surface applications or entities inside a Power App really, really quickly without any coding experience. You don't need any C# or JavaScript or anything like that. If you have a basic understanding of how formulas work in Excel, then you should be able to learn really, really quickly how to build PowerApps. And then the next thing you need to learn is just the basic navigation around where to find what. And once you get to find or get your foundation right, then you can actually build and upskill yourself to very, very advanced things that you can do. Some of the things that I've seen done with PowerApps, from very, very simple things. For example, I've seen applications where it's just something simple as a timesheet. I've seen applications that have been deployed where drivers that are making deliveries and so forth, they have where they put in their kilometers that they traveled into the timesheet, into an app. And I've also seen an airline use a Power App to check passengers in and off their flights. So it can be used for very simple and very advanced. Another one use case for example, there's a project I was involved in where we deployed a Power App that manages the stock and devices and resources for a mine. The problem is they work underground. So we managed to get the Power App to work in an online and offline mode. That's not for this lesson, but that just shows you the powerful extent you can actually push it. And then when we take something like Power Automate that allows us to automate processes in the background, and not only automate processes in Dynamics, but automate processes in terms of in Excel, in OneDrive, in SharePoint, your emails, in bots, in all kinds of things. You've got to get as creative as you want to get. And I'm going to show you a couple of small tricks that I learned in the last couple of days that I'm quite excited to share with you guys what you can actually do with some of these things. Okay. Let's continue. I promise today I'm not going to make this demo very, very long. I'm going to keep it nice and short and simple so that we can be done in maybe 30 minutes or so. Because so we make it nice and simple. Okay, so I'm going to do all the slides first, and then we'll start with the demos. So the first demo I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a Canvas app very quickly using a wizard. 5 minutes, you'll be done. Choose an entity and expose the entity. The entity we're going to be working with is a contact entity. It's the simplest one, where we're going to take the contact entity from Dynamics and we're going to expose it in a Power App, and we're going to show you the components, how that works. Then I'm going to manually recreate that Canvas app. So the reason why I'm doing that, I'm going to show you how to use a wizard to create an app, but then also how to create the same app from scratch. Okay. And then I'm going to show you how to control the data inside a Canvas app by using views and security roles inside Dynamics, which allows you to actually control what data is actually being exposed inside the application. All right, let's move on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a toggle. All right, now toggle action is you click on a button and we want the button colors and we want the words. Believe me, this is an action that struggle to find the answer. But something so simple as when I click on a button, I want something to happen is not as simple as you think it is. All right, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is something you're going to use a lot. So for example, when a user clicks on a button, I want the button to disappear. Or when the user clicks on the button, I want the color of the button, or I want the text inside the button to change. In other words, a very common case is if I've got a send email button, when you click on it, it must say email sent. I don't want it to say send email because then the user doesn't know that he's actually clicked on it. Tip number 2, I'm going to show you how to run or trigger a workflow from inside a Canvas app. So this is quite a cool one. So it can be a submit request. It can be I actually built one recently for an old age home that's a panic button. So that when old age people are in the old age home and they need help and they need a nurse, they press the panic button and it goes and it uses a flow bot to basically fetch all the doctors and tell them which room number, who's the patient, everything. Gives GPS coordinates, the whole lot. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then tip number 3, I'm going to show you a launch command. Right, so I'm not going to tell you what a launch command is. It's my favorite one, but I'm going to leave that one for absolute last. All right. So let's get started, and I've created an environment, called it the demo company, and let's get started with the very first one. All right, so I've got my flows open, I've got PowerApps open, and then I'm not going to open Dynamics, I don't really need it, but we're going to start off by going to go and create an app. So if I go here to new and I choose between Canvas, Model, or Portal, if I could just explain if there's any people that are very not familiar with this, what this actually means. A Canvas app, Canvas in the English term means a blank piece of paper. So for example, when an artist is painting a painting, it's a big whiteboard that's empty. So that's what a Canvas app is. It's a whiteboard that's empty that you can design the application 100% the way you want it. It's a blank canvas, design it how you like it. So what we do is we take components and we go and drag and drop those components, and we can customize how those components behave. But generally speaking, Canvas applications are fit for purpose in mobile applications and or mobile devices and tablets. Model-driven applications are used mostly for desktop applications. Right. So when I say desktop, I mean PC. All right. Let's just use the simple term. And model-driven applications works on an existing model or existing structure. So for example, an existing menu, existing look and feel, and you drag and drop those components that you want. So components I'm talking about is like contacts or accounts or resources or work orders. You drag all those components and you design an app and you model the application specific to a department. So you can actually have your main CRM that has all your entities in it, and then you can go and create model-driven applications for each department. And the reason why we do that is we don't want to have one department that actually only needs 2 or 3 entities to have 500 entities on the screen when they actually only need 3. So you create model-driven applications to fit each department. And then portals basically takes your Dynamics instance or your common data service entities and exposes it to a customer. So think of it like this: as your Dynamics is the admin system, and the portal is your actual website, where your customers go. So customers can log onto a website, they can submit queries, purchase products, get help, read news articles. That's what a portal is. And all the data that is on that portal is actually coming from Dynamics. So when you update something on the portal, it updates Dynamics. When you update something in Dynamics, it also updates the portal and vice versa. All right. The one we're focusing on today is a Canvas app. So if I click on Canvas app, it'll start. We just wait for it. And then I have a couple of options here, right? So I can either start with data or I can start from a blank app. So in this instance, choose the common, right? I can actually go and click on more over here and go and choose Dynamics directly, but I don't necessarily want to do that. What I want to do instead is I actually want to go and choose one from a common data service. Okay, I'm going to choose a phone layout. All right. And then once I've done that, I'm going to either add a new connection. In this case, it's already a connection here. So when we go and we click add new connection, you'll see it'll give you a list. You choose common data service, for example. You choose create. So I'm actually creating potentially a duplicate connection here. So I'm just going to go backwards. There, I've created another connection, doesn't matter. Choose contacts and choose. Now what you actually see that's happening on the screen now is quite amazing. It's actually going to build the whole application for me. It's going to build 3 main components. It's going to build the view component, the edit component, and the details component. So what that means is I'm going to have a screen that's already built and configured and working that shows me a list of all the contacts in CRM. I'm also going to have a screen over here that is the details screen. So when I click on a contact, it's going to show me the details of the contact, and then I'm going to have an edit screen that when I click on a contact, I'm actually able to edit it. And this app is already running. So if I click on play on the top right corner over here, the app actually runs, and I can do a couple of things. I can search, for example. There will be some tiny bugs in this app, and I'm going to show you how to fix it now. That we got is the search button doesn't really work. Okay, now there is a reason why it doesn't work, and I'll show you why. This over here is what we call a gallery, and the gallery items, which is the records. So in a PowerApp item records that is displaying over here, is actually searching for the wrong one. So if I select this drop down, I can expand where the formula is, go to format, and I'm going to tell it to let you see over here it says search by. So that's the search box over there. And these three fields, address, city, composite, and country, is actually address fields. And I don't want to search for an address field. What I want to do is I want to search the name of the person. Okay, so what that'll do, it'll actually now give me, these are actually the fields that I want to search for. So I'm just going to change them inside the form, all right? And then this field over here is actually the sort field. Okay, so I wanted to sort by first name. All right, so if you look carefully at this formula, what does it say? It says sort by, and then it says search. So that's the search box. This is the sort. And then it tells me, it gives me the ascending and descending order. Okay, so let's minimize that. There is a lot of material on this that you can go and check out online. And then let's click play and let's test it out. Let's search for Byron and then give it a second. There it returns Byron. Okay, so we fixed that little bug. If I clear it, then it should return the whole list. And there we go, we got the whole list of contacts. And exactly as it is in CRM. If I click on the name of the person, it takes me into the contact record. If I click on edit, there we go, we've got another small bug. We can't edit the first name, but we can edit the phone number and we can edit this. So how do we add fields and rearrange the fields how we like it? Just simply go to the page, select the section where the fields are. Remember, don't select the field. You can't move these fields around. You can't change them, but you select the whole section. So where it says data source, contacts. And on the right-hand side here where it says contacts, we can say edit fields. And here we can add a field. So I want to add the first name, select it, and I want to add the last name, select it, click on add, and then I want to take this full name field out. This is a composite field. So if you remember in Dynamics, the composite field is two fields that are concatenated together. Now I'm going to rearrange the fields. So you'll see as I rearrange them, it actually changes on the form behind here. And there we go, I'm happy with that. Let's click and play. And there we go, we can see how our fields look, and that looks great. Okay, then let's say, for example, let me just check my notes quickly to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, fantastic. So that's the basics of actually getting an app actually set up. All right, now if I wanted to add an extra page in here, right? So let's say, for example, I wanted a home screen. So I can actually just go to insert over here and select new screen. And I can choose this type of screen that I want. In this case, I just want a blank screen. Okay, there's my blank screen over there. All right, cool. Now what I want to do is I'm going to rename this. I'm just going to call this home screen. Yeah, home screen. And what I want on my home screen, I want a button that shows me a list of contacts. So just click on button. And now put your button where you want it. We can put some pictures and we can do all kinds of fancy things, but I'm not going to do that too much over here. Then, now this is where you got to watch carefully for those of you who don't know. Now that I've selected the button, I've got to change a few things on this button. The first thing I want to do is I don't want this word button. So if you go on the left-hand side and you type text, it shows what text is in the button. So change it to click me and it changes the text. So now that we've changed the text, we now need to change what we wanted to do. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to navigate to the browse screen. So as we simply change it to navigate over here, and you'll see, sorry, not navigate, sorry, on select. So on select, I want you to navigate to where, and it gives you a list of screens. So we want the browse screen. Close brackets. That's it. Let's test it. Click on play. Click, and off it goes to the browse screen. There we go. Okay. The last thing I want to show you here is with regards to actually changing the views. So now let's say, for example, you've got a bunch of users, but you want these users only to see contacts that actually belong to them. Now you can do it two ways. You can either show them the contacts based on by modifying this formula, but that's going to be very, very complicated to do it. And the reason why I say it's going to be complicated is you need to go and fetch the user, fetch the role, filter the user, the owner of the record over here. Okay, so we don't want to do that. I hope you're following that. If anyone doesn't understand what I just said, just regarding that type of filtering at this point in time? No? Okay, good. All right. I must look over here. You will see it's got over here the data source is contacts and the view is set to none. Now, if you hover over this, it actually tells you in the tooltip, it says the view to be applied to the data source as a filter. The property as a formula. Select, edit the formula bar. So it's locked this view because of the formula. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go to advanced. Let's go, let's see, it's not locked over there. I'm going to go and take this formula out of here. Get the formula out. Great. Now select contacts. It's going to pull my contacts in, and now it enables me to choose a view. So this brings up all the views that are in CRM. And I simply just changed it to my active contacts. That's it. Click on play, click on new, and let's add a contact. Okay, and click on the tick, and then it'll save. There we go, and there's my contact. I can click on it. Simple as that. I have just made one tiny change to how the data filters, and I can actually configure my views to show what data I want to show my users. So a perfect example in this case is if I was doing timesheets, I create a view, I say, show me all timesheet records where it was created by the user. And then I can just expose those timesheet entries, and I can also put an additional condition to that filter that where the record was created on today or modified this week. I hope you all understand that so far. All right. So to give you the basics of how this app was actually composed, because it was built with a wizard, what would we actually do this app from scratch? Okay, so I'm just going to close this. I'm not going to go through the entire app, but I'm going to give you the basic construct and we'll get most of it working. All right, I don't want to keep you on the phone forever. So we do the same thing when you go to Canvas. And then down the blank app, we're going to choose phone. You can, of course, choose tablet if you want. And if you do by mistake choose tablet or phone and you want to later change it to tablet, you can also do that. All right. So we started as a blank application. We got our first screen over here. I'm going to just rename this. I'm going to call this home screen. We want another screen. So I'm going to drop in another screen. I want the screen to be a list. So this is going to be the list of contacts. You'll see it starts to compose the list of items. I'm just going to change this to rename list. And believe me, renaming these pieces is very, very helpful because later on when you write formulas and you got these generic out-of-the-box naming conventions, you can get quite lost quite quickly. Okay, so we've got the home screen, we've got list. We need a form. So this we're going to use is going to be our edit screen. Rename. Now let's make it the view screen. So we're going to show the record, view the record, and then we're going to have one that's going to be an edit screen. So let's add one more screen, which is also a form. And we're going to make this a edit. Cool. Okay, so let's go to the list and let's make sure the right data is coming through here. Okay. Now we want that data source. Wait for the data source to show up here. Come on, where's our data source? Okay, there we go. There we go. And let's just go get active contacts. Okay, that's fantastic. There's our data coming through already. Fantastic. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to work on this click action. Okay, so when I play this, if I click, nothing happens. Okay. So we're going to make sure we first select this arrow and make sure this arrow is on select parent, which basically grabs the whole box. All right. Then we select the box itself. Once we've selected, or we can actually just select the items filter. I'm just checking one or two things here quickly. There we go. Now we're going to say, see the onSelect action is set to false. We want it to navigate. Select navigate to which screen? To the view screen. Okay, and close. That's it. So when you click on it, it's going to go to the view, but it's not going to show you the actual one you selected. So when you go to the view screen, over here to the view screen, to the actual form itself, see the data source over here. Do we need to set it to contacts? Great. But now it doesn't know which contact to actually show us. So in the advanced section, you'll see down here, it says contacts, edit. The mode is edit. What we want over here is we want the contacts that you selected over here in the list. So this browse gallery one, we want to get that, right? So let's go browse gallery one dot selected. That's it, and you'll see the data should come through soon. Okay, there we go. Let's go test that. Play, click on this one, and there's our data. Cool. There we go. No special magic. Okay, you see that little X didn't work. So when we click on the X, we want to get it to go back to the list. So on select, we've selected the item. Back to where? Close a bracket. That's it, this test. And click, and there we go, it goes back to the list. Right, let's say, for example, we want to get this refresh button to work. So let's say, for example, you got hundreds of people in the business and they're busy creating records. So you want to always make sure that the records you got are recent. So you need a refresh button. There we go. So what do we want to do? We want to refresh the contact list. So on select, refresh contacts. That's it. Let's play, let's test it, and then refresh, and it'll connect back to CRM and gets us the latest contact list. Okay, so that's the basics, all right, of how to actually navigate around it. And I hope I didn't go too fast there, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to just put it in the chat. All right, so let's get on to some exciting things now, some of the fun stuff, right? First thing I want to do is we're going to talk about the toggle action. All right. So toggle action is a very, very common one that I find that comes up, and this one gets quite a few people stumped. So what I'm going to do is in this toggle action, I'm going to use specifically a button. All right, so I'm going to make it nice and big so you guys can see it. All right. So the text inside the button, we have to use the same sort of logic that we do in JavaScript. Okay, when I say the same sort of logic, is we can't actually change the text of the button based on what. So in other words, if I go and I set this text to, let's say, text, and I set this to click me. Now once it's set, sorry, my bad. Once the button text is set to click me, I actually can't change it now because I've already set it. It's already static. So what I actually have to do is I have to create a variable and then set the text based on the variable. All right. So I'm speaking French now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start out by selecting a variable. So this is a three-stage process. I'm going to select the home screen, and then I'm going to say on visible. So when the screen loads, I want to set, use a common JavaScript one. We say set, and then you look at the tooltip. The tooltip tells you variable. I'm going to say I, and the value, I'm going to give it a Boolean value. Let's set it to false. Okay, so there here what I've done is I've declared a global variable. All right. So once the variable is created, the next thing to do is to go to the button, and I'm going to set this text to say if I is equal to false, right? then I'm going to say click, amen. What am I doing? Click me, right? And then if it's false, then don't click. And there we go. All right, so there's the second part. Now, so we've set the text. We've told it if value of the variable is false, then it tells it what it must actually set it to. Okay, but we haven't set the toggle action yet. The toggle action is we select the button, and now we need to select the onSelect action. Okay, so the onSelect action is we need to say, right, if, let me just move my cursor out the way, if I is equal to false, we're going to update context, and we need to change the variable. So we put curly braces there, and we say I, the context we want to update I, semicolon, or colon, sorry, and then we're going to switch it. So we're going to go from false to true. And then if the variable, then we need to pass in a second one. So we're going to update the context again. And I'll explain this to you in a second. Then we're going to say I, and then false. Spell it correctly. There we go. All right. So what we're saying is we're saying if the variable is currently false, make it true. If it's true, make it false. So it does a toggle action. Okay, so let's test. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it's working. So we click and it'll toggle. There we go. So I hope that wasn't too complex. I'll go through it one more time. All right, so your first step is to declare a variable. So we declare the variable by selecting the screen, go to onVisible, and use the command set. So set I and give it a value. This value can be, in this case, I've used a Boolean, but you can use a number, a character, a string. It's up to you. Okay. Once you've done that, the next thing to do is to set the text property. So if we go to text, we say if I is false, then this is the value of true. And if you actually look at the tooltip, when I see it says if logical test true value else value. So true value, if the Boolean is currently true, then make it click me. If it's false, then make it don't click. Okay. And once we've done that, we now need to set that. So select. What did I just do? On select. There we go. So updating the context over here where I say if I is equal to false, update the context actually goes and grabs the value of the variable and resets the value of the variable to a new value. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. So now, if I wanted to change the color as well, first thing that you would think of is, okay, I can change the color over here. Well, actually, I can't change the color here. Property, we're setting the text over here. But if I wanted to change the color of the background, I need to change the color of the background in the fill property. Now, if you now I'm typing fill, but if you click on the drop down, you get all the properties that you can actually reach, and you can go change them. These are all the different properties you can actually change. So I'm going to work now on the fill property, and what I want is I want to change that if, right, if I is equal to false, then I want to make this text color, right? I want to change the text color, right? So it's already got the fill there. So if I is equal to false, I want, right? And otherwise, if it's true, I want it to be blue. Cool. There we go. Okay, let's test. Okay, this is red, this is blue. But we notice we've got a hover action here. Maybe we don't want that hover action. So you simply click on a button. You go down here on the side, there's a whole bunch of properties here, and one of these properties is the hover color. If you click on it, you'll see there's a formula here. Let's just remove that formula. We'll delete that, and let's go see if there's any other hover properties here that's also going to cause us a little bit of headaches. Let's see. There's the full hover. I think there's a full hover. Let's see. No? Okay, let's test. There's still one more there. That goes red, and then it goes back to blue. And you can just basically play around with the colors. I think you guys get the idea, right? Everyone get the idea? Okay, let's move on. The next one I'm going to show you is how to trigger a flow. Now, believe me, when you do this one, do yourself a favor and create the flow first. Right, so the flow I'm going to use is a very simple one. I'm just going to use an email action. So we go to our flows, and we can go and create an instant flow. The instant flow, we're going to choose the PowerApps action, this one over here. This will be our trigger. PowerApps. Now, it actually has nothing in it because this is the standard trigger for a button. Okay. Click on New Step. I'm going to select email. So this email that I'm using here is not an Office 365 email. It's actually PowerApps' email. Click on Send Email. And then to, who am I sending it to? I just select the dynamic value Ask in PowerApps, and you'll see how I configure that just now. Give it an email subject. I'm going to say, thank you for visiting. Okay. And then in the email body, I'm going to say, good day. Thank you for attending our training. Cheers. And let's put here D365 user group for Nigeria. And that's it, save. Cool, so we've got our thing set up. Let's give it a name. Let's call this demo D365 user group. Great stuff. Let's just save that. Okay, and there we go, it's saved. So we go to our Power App now, and what I want to do is I want to click a button, and this button must send an email. So add a button, this one here, and let's go and change the text that's in there. So to change the text, I'm going to say text, and I want to say send email. Cool. And then the action, I wanted to perform an action, and the action I wanted to perform is the Power Automate. So click on Power Automate. There's the flow that I just created. Select it. It says adding. Just wait for it. There we go. You see it's inserted the name of the flow, and it's got a dot and then run. Now it's asking me to pass a value in. Now the value that it wants me to pass in is actually a string. Text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an email at empire.com. Okay, cool. Got an email in there, and we're done. We can test. Okay. Let's click on play. Click on send, and there we go. It's busy triggering. And there we go, your email sent. We go to our flow runs. Let's go check it out. Let's see. And then our flow is successful. Let's go and see what data it actually sent. And you'll see now there it passed the email address as a parameter into the email. It got our stuff over here, our subject, and it sent the email body as in an HTML format. And this email will arrive in my email box in a couple of seconds. And there we go. That's how you actually invoke a workflow inside a Power App. And it's really as simple as that. You can get as creative, obviously, as you want to get. You can create a case of it. You can do tons of different things. One of the things that I did is I actually used this button specifically to book a, let me give you the full story actually. So I have a client, and what they wanted to do is they used articles in Dynamics to put out news publications to their staff of different events that are coming up, like bowling and cards club and dinner night and movie night and so forth. But they didn't want the people to have to fill in a long form in order to book for the venue. So what we did is we exposed the knowledge articles so that they could write article content, and then on the actual page, when you view the article, we put a button that says book my seat. And when you click book my seat, what it does, it grabs the user's profile and goes back to Dynamics and creates a record, an RSVP record in Dynamics. So they don't have to fill in any forms. You've got the context of who the user is that's already logged in. You just need to get the user profile. And if you want to get the user profile, you can just actually go over here and click over here, click add action, and look for 360, this one over here. And then you can just go down here and you can either use the get my profile, get user's photo. There's a ton of different ones. This one over here, get user's profile. And this will go and grab the user, the existing user that's logged in their profile. And once you have all their details, then you can then pass in. I'm just going to put this in here. Separate values. Once I have all their details, and you can see when I try to map the information, it gives me access to all the details from the user from the Active Directory. So it makes it really easy for me to personalize the content inside the email, as well as I can now, if I create records in Dynamics, I can pass the values from the AD credentials directly into Dynamics. So I know who's reserved a seat at the conference and so forth. So you can get quite creative, right? Okay, cool stuff. Is there any questions around triggering a flow from inside a Canvas application? No? Pretty simple. Like I said, guys, if you need any help with this, you get stuck, I am going to definitely, I'll answer some of your questions on the Teams group. Okay, so I got one more to show you. This is my personal favorite. This one's called a launch command. All right, so what is a launch command? Is I want to be able to launch applications directly from my how can you say, your Canvas application. All right, so let's say for argument's sake, I want to launch a browser. Let's say Google. Okay, so let's go again. Let's go and put a button. Put a button in our app, and I'm going to give it some text. Let's call it, let's go give it text. Let's say open Google. Great. On select, you're going to say launch. What do we want to launch? https://google.com. That's it. Click on play, click open Google, and there Google. Okay, cool. What else can you do with it? Let's go see. Now we can open Google. How about make a phone call? So what if we go into the view screen for a contact over here, and we actually wanted to phone this person with a single click straight from the contact list? I wonder if you can do that. So what we're going to do, we click on button, add a button in. Let's place the button over here. Let's go to the set our text option. Let's say call. Let's spell call correctly. And now what we're going to do is on select. We want to launch tell this telephone number, semicolon, and then I'm going to use an and symbol. Now the reason why I'm putting an and symbol here is I need to actually get the phone number out of this field that's over here. All right, so now I'm going to stop over here just to show you how do I get that. So if we go down here, after I select the actual field, you'll see that the field is actually in here. That's where the data sits, inside that specific field over there. All right. So if we click on the whole block, you'll see it's in data card 3. That's the block. And that's the actual field, the data card value 3. That's the one I'm all right. So and data card value 3. There we go. Great stuff. right? Let's go, click on play and click on call. And you'll see it is trying to make a call. So it's asking me what application to use. So the good news is if the user uses this from their device on their cell phone and they open the app on their cell phone, you click on call, it launches the dialer on the cell phone. Pretty cool, right? You can do the same thing for a text message. So in other words, where's my screen? Where did I put that? I put it over there. So if I wanted to send a text message, it's exactly the same. So let's go and do it one more time. We're going to put a button in. And we're going to give it text. Right. And we want to say late. No. So let's say you want to send him a message, say you're running late. There we go. Got our message there. And we want to say on select, what do we want to do? Launch SMS colon, what do you want to SMS? So first we need to know to who. So and we said it's on data card value 3, this one here. So that's the first parameter. And the second parameter you want to pass in is going to, well, that's the phone number that we want to send to. And the second parameter you want to pass in is possibly the actual message itself. So is, let's put something else. I am running 10 minutes late. There we go. That's it. Okay. So now when I run this, click play, click on send late notice. It will open your text messenger on your cell phone. The phone number will already be filled in and the message that you want to type will already be filled in. So just in case you want to notice, you can actually go and create a text box over here where a user can type a custom message and then you just pass in the custom message as your second parameter over here, and then it'll copy the phone number as well as the message and send a custom message out directly from the Canvas app. So we want to create a single user experience so a person doesn't have to navigate all over the place. Like let's say one of my favorite is actually Google Maps. All right. So let's say, for example, we've got our contact here and I'm logged into the app and I want to navigate to the customer, right? So let's go and actually see if we can find an icon here, a nice a pin or something. I wonder if they've got one. Let's see. There we go, location. Let's add a location pin. Make it nice and big so you can see it. There we go. And what I want is when the user clicks on this, it must open Google Maps, but I don't want to have to copy and paste the address. It must take the address and copy it in. So put launch, right? And then what are we going to launch? We're going to launch HTTPS colon maps.google.com. Okay, that's the first one. Now, a little bit of a trick here you need to learn, right? It's going to be /. Now, this is the piece you must not forget. You might want to take notes on this. Cool. I think it is a question mark first. Yeah. Question mark Q and equals. What this does is it allows us to append additional parameters onto the end of the string. So what I'm going to append is I'm going to encode the address, the URL of the actual address. Right, so which address I want to pass in here is I want to pass in the address from the actual contact itself. So if I type in address, it'll actually come up. It should give me the address fields. Here's the address fields from the actual CRM form. Just want to get the address field here quickly. Give me 1 second. Just want to check my note on this one. This one is a little bit of a tricky one, but I'll give you the note right now. Okay. We need to first, we got to do one little thing first before we do that. We need to add the address field onto this so that we can actually see it. So I'm just going to move this data around a little bit so I can get that address field added onto this form. Okay. So over here, I select the whole form, and then on the right-hand side, select Edit Fields, and let's go and add the address fields in here. So that's this one over here, address. Let me just type address in here. Okay, address 1. We want address 1 there. I actually want these 3, not this one. That's a composite field. And we want the state and province. And let's take the zip code. And is there a country here somewhere? Yeah, there's the country there. Let's take these ones. That should do it. Let's add those fields in. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, now that we got the fields in, we can actually go and grab this here. Encode URL. Just want to see if I can reach the address 1 card. State province card. I'm not seeing the field that I need. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to just make one change here quickly. Just to make this a little bit shorter, I don't want to make this too complicated, but I'm going to actually just switch this and just change it to a composite field rather. It'll actually make it a little bit easy for me to show you. So the composite field I'm referring to is, you know, that when you fill in address field 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 8, the composite field is one field that actually takes all the address fields. It's actually this field over here, and it exposes the whole address in one field, just like that. Okay, cool. So we're going to take that field and put this into our okay. There we go. And we want to grab that field there, this address 1. And if we look at it, what it is, it's address 1, data card 1. That's the name of the field. So address 1. And there it is there. That's the field we want. Okay. And we want inside this data card 1, we want the actual default. Let's use the data field. No, we should use the default instead. And that should be fine. Let me make sure we've got no errors. And then we need one more bracket over here. And okay. All right, let's test it. If we click on play, we click on the GPS pin. It opens Google Maps, passes the address in, and locates the address. So if you do this on a mobile device, what will it do? It will automatically start your GPS, and you just need to go on your device, click on directions, and your GPS. How cool is that? Right, so that you can actually put onto pretty much anywhere, and as long as the address is exposed, you'll be able to grab it. So what have I showed you? I've showed you how to trigger an SMS, how to trigger. You can change your default caller to call for Skype if you want, or change your default caller to call through Teams, whichever you prefer. It's a little bit different if you're calling through Teams because you need to pass the username opposed to an actual phone number. And then to use Google Maps as well, which is quite a cool trick. All right, cool. And that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you learned some cool tricks there. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Hopefully I can. And then, yeah, sure, you guys are welcome to email me if you have any questions or post them on the group as well. And that's it from my side.
Wow, thank you very much.
Only a pleasure.
Byron. This is great. Are you sure you want to stop? You want to stop now?
you you want
Because
to
it's
see some more
fantastic
tricks?
and that was following through. So it's awesome. And then, okay, thank you very much, Byron. I really appreciate your time and also want to appreciate you for this wonderful magic. I told you guys, Byron is a magician, when it comes to PowerApps and Dynamics. You can see what he has done and you can see what he has been able to, show us and then the tricks and the magic things the same with PowerApps, how we can be able to create record in the dynamics, and also I can connect different way you can use PowerApps as well. Okay, if you everyone have question, you can ask your question, or you can put your question in the chat. We can read it out. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ahmed. Ahmed.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, someone is asking question. Byron, is there any way to connect my SQL database connector through flows?
Yeah, yeah, there should be. I'm 99% sure on Flow there is a connector. We have actually done that before.
Byron?
It's a little bit slow, but yes, of course. So, yeah, let me show you.
Hello?
I can hear you. I'm showing you now. I'm just loading it.
Does anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you, Ahmed. So here is your connectors for SQL.
Hey, Byron, it's Paul Slade from the CRM team here. I think the question was around MySQL, but I'm pretty sure it's very much the same process, right?
Yeah. So you're talking about MySQL, so the standard or basic SQL that sits behind a website.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it shouldn't really be any different. I mean, you're going to connect using your normal username and password. It'll ask you to synchronize, and pretty much that's it. If that's what they want to use it, either to connect with Flow or their data source for PowerApps, they should be good to go.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
Cool, man. Hey, Deepu, nice to see you on the meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so anyone have a question just before we call it a day today?
Looks like that's it.
Okay, all right. So if you have a questions, you can always put it in the chat, and we can always respond to you maybe later, or I can forward a question to Byron, and then also let me know. You can put it on chat just first. Okay, so thank you, Byron. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you today. And then
Thanks so much.
This is such a wonderful presentation, and then the demos there. So, okay, so previously, just to let us know that previously we've just last weekend, we talked about the overview about Dynamics 365 and PowerApps, and today we Byron took us through the demos on what we can do with PowerApps, the connection between the PowerApps and Dynamics, and also some other stuff we will be able to put to us. So by this weekend, on the May 2nd, we'll be having Dynamics and Power BI. And this will be taken by Nashim Niaz, he's an expert, and also it's technical expert on Power BI as well. And then this guy has a lot in his skills. And then so he'll be taking us how we can connect the pool data from Dynamics and to Power BI dashboard, and how we can be able to pull data as well and display dashboards in Dynamics 365. So the time will be okay. Let me try to share my screen. So we'll be taking out around by 10 a.m. That will be in the morning this weekend, and then sure that we can be able to connect with him so that from there we can actually I'm just trying to share my screen. Share the screen. Okay, so here next. So we'll be talking about omni-channel for customer service as well, and then the next coming sections we'll be talking also on Plan Platform Admin and data integration, PowerApps and Power Automates, and also we'll be looking out to PowerApps and then the CRM. I mean the ERP parts. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for these as well, and there's been a lot of questions around ERP and PowerApps. What can you do with that? And then also Fusion will be taking us you see the magic on there, also the data integration as well. So how can you connect to various data sources such as the ERP, the CRM, and some other stuff as well. So we're looking at Power on the May 9. We'll also be discussing about business value with PowerApps. This will be taken by Chris Hunterford from Microsoft. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your wonderful time you have spent to attend this section. So see you on next week Saturday. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
Ahmed.
man.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you, sir.